my thing, Nicki Minaj, right? How you saying that I got ragged by Riley when there is so many footages of that night, every single angle, and where am I getting ragged at? Why would I be here sitting in line like, oh...
Will wonders ever end? Cause why are Cardi and Nicki beefing now involving their men? And which one of them threatened to end the other man's life?
Making calls and calling shots.
Let's get into the tea. So Nicki's man, Kenneth Petty, has always been on the bad side of the law. He ain't got a single saint bone in that body of his. So it wasn't really surprising when he got arrested again. But this time, it was for trying to end Offset. And as expected, Nicki is taking her man's side and warning Cardi to back off from her man and family.
You mad? You mad at a woman for what a man is doing. And that's the problem with so many black women and women, period.
Never thought this day was going to ever happen. But what do we know? We all know there is no love between Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. These two have been at each other's throats as far back as 2017. They are constantly throwing shades at each other.
Because she has built her career off of sympathy and payola.
Hey, sympathy and payola, sympathy and payola.
You came into my fucking culture!
That happens in the Bronx. Hip-hop was created in the Bronx, by the way. My life, my culture, the Bronx, where I'm from.
We gotta get into some motherfucking things.
We're gonna get into some good stuff.
Whether on social media, at their concert, or even in their music. There was even that time things got physical, with them throwing shoes and bottles at each other. And as expected, their fans are not left out. The battle between Barb's and the Barty gang has been on and brutal for years. But ain't nobody interested in keeping up with their drama no more, cause clearly they are too old to keep doing this. And besides, they both got successful careers, and there is really nothing for them to gain from coming at each other like that. But just when we thought we laid Cardi and Nicki's beef to rest, their men have done a fine job of resurrecting it. To get into details, Cardi's man, Offset, and Nicki's husband, Kenneth, have both been arrested several times. Offset did jail time, while Kenneth has some nasty issues going on with the police. Y'all remember how Nicki and Kenneth tried to hide a little detail from us all, especially when we discovered that they were an item? This made him move to LA to be with her. But lo and behold, his little secret couldn't stay hidden for long. It was discovered that this man failed to register as an offender, and since that is against the law, he was slammed with house arrest and placed on probation.
Nicki Minaj's neighbors are banding together to try and get the rap superstar and her convicted felon husband, Kenneth Zoo Petty, out of their ritzy community. Hundreds who reside in Hidden Hills, California have signed a Change.org petition to express their concerns over Petty's status as a registered sex offender. The plea began circulating online back in December 2022 after Nicki reportedly purchased a $19.5 million estate in the neighborhood. However, more than 500 people signed the petition after Petty filed legal documents to update his address on the Megan's Law website, according to TMZ. The petition claimed the couple's presence in the neighborhood would raise safety concerns and lower the value of the area.
Now, what y'all probably don't know is that if you are on probation, you better don't be hanging out with criminals or people with issues with the law or a criminal past. If you are caught doing so, you will be in some serious trouble. Kenneth knew that and was being a good boy, abiding by them rules until his ego got the best of him. You might be wondering, how exactly? This video appeared on the internet a couple of weeks back.
I got a Brooklyn hoodie on. So they don't know where I'm from. They know where I'm from, though. I can't act like I don't. Big Queens, nigga.
Yeah, sturdy. What's poppin'?
Nicki's husband with his crew members threatening to take out Offset, which is pretty ridiculous and all shades of wrong. What's the man even doing? So lame. To even start with, as a father and a husband, this should be beneath you. If you don't have a better way to sort out your issue with another grown man, then just ignore it. What is even crazier is that Kenneth is still on probation, and he violated it by hanging out with men who apparently have criminal records. Kenneth got dragged through the mud so bad that he then decided to defend himself by sharing private messages between himself and Offset. Apparently, the two have been having some sort of argument in the DM. We are not exactly sure what led to another, but it looks like Kenneth might have made some remarks against Cardi B, and Offset wasn't about to take it lying down. The fight in the DM was nasty. They were going at each other, calling themselves out. Offset also refers to Kenneth as a broke guy meddling meddling in women's business. And then Kenneth takes a shot at Offset, telling him to get the guys that attacked Takeoff with all the money he's got. People also think that their fight might have started during this year's VMAs, and it must have been pretty serious because it makes no sense that Offset would just randomly enter Kenneth's DM. Well, Kenneth got more than what he bargained for because his video of him threatening Offset went viral. And guess who saw it? The parole board. Since Kenneth violated his probation by being with those people in the video and doing all that, the parole board had him sentenced to 4 months of house arrest. Just look at that. The parole board also added that he would be placed on close monitoring, and his movement has been restricted for not obeying the rules of his probation. He will likely be strapped with an ankle monitor, and he will be participating for about 120 days in a home detention program. Yeah, you know that advice about using your brain to actually think? Kenneth definitely didn't take that advice, because if he did, then we would not have seen him get clowned by the entire internet for being dumb enough to record himself breaking his parole for the dumbest reasons. Nicki, on the other hand, is speaking up on the entire issue, and as usual, she is defending her man.
This man gonna comment on my babe. Why this man commented? And I went on his page and I was gonna say something. Man? No, stop, babe. Babe, come on this side, cause you. Okay. Babe.
Saying someone be on and about snitching and lying to the police and CPS about her husband and her family. She then adds that this had led to the police showing up at her home armed and heavy. Things got a little more interesting when she posted this on her Instagram page. Nicki went on about someone high up in the industry trying to take her down and trying to stop her wins. But to think that the cops were all over her house and nobody knew is kinda odd. And if we are trying to connect the dot, we definitely know who she is referring to. Anyways, Nicki wasn't done talking. She then proceeded to throw further shade at a certain someone saying, "Can't call the cops every time you flop." Just saying. Yo, who's that? Who flopped? But the most interesting part has to be this post. Here, she says, "Tried to stop VMAs, what did I do? I stepped on them. What is going on here? Like, who could possibly have that much power to try to stop Nicki from attending the VMAs? Well, if there is one thing this confirms, it is that something definitely went down at this year's VMAs. Now the question is, what was it? Guess we're about to find out soon, because Nicki posted about telling Barbs who to swat, whatever that means. And of course, Cardi also came out to warn everybody who cares to listen to stay away from her man, tweeting, "Keep me and my man out y'all mouth." Offset has also responded by laughing at Nicki's man while stepping out of a private jet.
These niggas talking about, what are these niggas talking about? These niggas broke.
At this point, every single one of them needs to grow up and start acting right. They have kids, for goodness sake. So what do y'all think? Did Offset really do something to trigger Kenneth's behavior? Or should Offset be held responsible for Kenneth's actions? Drop a comment below. For the latest pop culture news, subscribe to PopPlug. And if you want to know why Blueface wifing Krishan Rock has his baby mama Jaden Alexis crushed, watch video.